Finally, there is a way to add years to your life. I'm James Derrick from Smedley Financial, and today we will explore how an optimistic outlook can add to your life. We'll be speaking with our expert and guest, Sharla Jessop.
Welcome to the SFS Power Up Wealth podcast, where we provide impactful insight and expert opinions on timeless financial principles and timely investment topics, preparing you to make smarter decisions with your money.
Thank you for joining me today, Sharla.
Thanks for having me.
Sharla Jessop is the president of Smedley Financial Services. She is also a certified financial planner. Sharla, you recently wrote about the importance of an optimistic outlook and how it can add years to your life. We often think about exercise and diet, medicines as ways to do this, but just simply optimism appears to be just as powerful as any of those.
It is. When I was reading this research, I found it fascinating because we've all been around people who have a really positive attitude, or elderly people who we see who seem to always be going and doing and involved in so many things. And you can just tell that they are really enjoying what they do and they're really engaged in their lives.
In the reading, how powerful is it? Could they quantify the difference?
They estimated that with a positive outlook, it can increase your life expectancy 7.5 years, which is huge because that's even more than what you get from healthy eating and healthy lifestyle. No, I'm not telling you not to do those things. And you don't get this compounded on top of that. But they're saying how important and how impactful this positive outlook is.
That's incredible. 7.5 years actually is a really long time. And I imagine it's not just 7.5 years laying in bed, but this is a good 7.5 years or a better 7.5 years.
Yeah, the research seems to show that because these people are very active. They are very positive. So they want to be out in their community. They're doing things. And it seems like when people are doing things and are engaged, that they continue to do more things and that their lives are fulfilled. You know, they have something to look forward to.
Yeah, I think that sounds really exciting. Do you think that it comes naturally for people, or is it possible that it might not come naturally for me, but I could intentionally change?
I think it's both. We all know that person who can be sitting under a rain cloud and be as happy as can be, but it's not natural for everybody. I would assume that it takes some practice. What you decide to make important and how you decide to view things that are happening around you, and really how you view aging. I think that's the most important thing, is how you view aging. If you think of commercials that you see on TV and how they look or show elderly people, it makes it look as if getting old is just a downward slope to nothing or nowhere. You know, it's not enjoyable. You have to worry about if you're going to slip and fall, or they're not showing the 90-year-old granny jumping from the airplane. That's not what people typically visualize when they see aging. But the people with the positive outlook, that's what they see. They see all the things that they can continue to do and the activities that they can be involved in.
So we're not just talking about a positive attitude in life, but we're talking about a positive attitude towards aging.
Yes, aging specifically. It's your outlook on aging and how you view that mentally, what you're telling yourself about aging. You know, like old people aren't just, oh, they're old and don't have anything to give, but really they're wise. They're mentors. They have something to give back to the community. They're storytellers. And my favorite is they're a value to society.
Yeah, I really believe that. And I like how you said practice, because it gives everybody some hope. Even those, who may not naturally feel this way, they can practice it. And the more you practice, I think the deeper those thought patterns become. And then you begin to live that kind of life that you want.
I think you have to be very intentional about it. It doesn't just happen. For instance, we all age, and as we age, things happen to our bodies. And yes, we cannot do the same things in our 60s that we could do in our 30s. But we can still do a lot, and focusing on the things that you can do and what you do well and what you have to give back at that stage of your life, I think can be really inspiring.
So you meet with a lot of people who are retiring or have just retired. Could you bridge the gap here on the positive outlook and transitioning to retirement?
Yes, I think that over the years, as I've watched people work through careers and then get to the age of where they're retiring and into retirement, those who seem to have the best outcome are the ones who have something to look forward to. It's really hard to step off into retirement like it's a date. And today I'm this, I'm something, I'm my career. The next day I'm retired, nothing, retired. You can't live every day in retirement like it's a vacation. That's going to get really old. So you have to have something that brings you purpose in life, whether that is what we call an encore career or a golden gig. And some of those pay. There are a lot of people who at retirement decide that they're going to do something consulting or get a job doing something they really have enjoyed or always wanted to do where they're paid. And that helps them pay for some of the extra things they want to do in retirement, like the traveling. But others look forward to just doing things that they've always wanted to do, that they're passionate about. They don't necessarily have to be paid, but they have something that engages them, that they look forward to, where they're sharing their expertise, their information, their time. It can be, for instance, Shane was telling us about a gentleman who goes to the schools and helps children learn how to do rockets. That's obviously a passion of his. Sometimes being able to take care of your grandchildren could be a passion. Either way, it's still something to look forward to.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fascinating. And what a service to everybody around you to take something you're passionate about and then continue to share it. What advice do you have for people who are not sure what that golden gig would be? By the way, I love the term golden gig. What if I don't know what it is?
I think it's really hard and really scary for people to try to determine what's my next chapter going to look like? What am I going to do? How am I going to fill my time? And I would say, as you're transitioning into retirement, try a lot of things. Do things that you've always wanted to do, but maybe haven't had the time to do. Maybe push yourself out on the limb and do some things that you're a little bit scared to do, but would maybe like to try. Whether it's an activity, maybe it's playing pickleball, becoming part of a pickleball league, maybe it's being on a book club, there can be so many things. But finding something that you enjoy that doesn't feel like a job, I think is important.
And you don't need to pick just one thing, I suppose. You could try all kinds of things, as you mentioned. And most importantly, regardless of what that golden gig is or what it might be, you have to stay optimistic about it.
You do. And community, I think, is also really important. I think we forget the importance of community as we retire. Because think about it, while you're working, you have a community around you. The people you're working with are part of your community. And then your family at home in the evenings, those are probably your main communities. And if you take one of those communities away, you have to replace that with something. I think as human beings, we need to have that social interaction. So Rich and I, my husband, we were down in Bryce this past year, which beautiful canyon. We had a wonderful trip, but we were so inspired by this group of people who were RVers, meaning they looked like they were all retired and they were all part of a club, and they were going together to see these different sites. They would drive their RVs there and, park, and they'd get together in the evenings and play games and eat together. And I just think those types of communities are really important. So find your community.
Sharla, thank you for coming in to talk to us about optimism, aging, and all the benefits we can get.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining the Power Up Wealth podcast. Smedley Financial is located at 102 South, 200 East, Suite 100 in Salt Lake City, Utah, 84111. Call us today at 800-748-4788. You can also find us on the web at smedleyfinancial.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. The views expressed are Smedley Financial's and should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities or services mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risks, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can assure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should only be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice.
Securities offered through Osaic Wealth, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Smedley Financial Services, Inc. Osaic Wealth is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth.